This is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
Her husband, Chris, head down behind her. In another photo, sweet Bella looking over her shoulder, smiling.
Never-before-seen home videos also show Watts hugging and kissing his daughters at the airport and enjoying a trip to the beach with the family.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. On the one hand, Watts was taking photos and videos of his children. On the other, he was receiving nude images from his mistress. He had to pick a side. He had to pick who and what he wanted on his phone and in his life. And if you think that he was making those decisions when he was in North Carolina, actually, it was pretty clear he'd already made up his mind even before he got there.
The documentary uncovered personal text messages between Watts and Shanann that shed light on the deterioration of their marriage in the months leading up to Watts killing pregnant Shanann and their two daughters, Bella and Cece, in 2018. I realized this trip's what's missing in our relationship.
Chris Watts seemed to be so smitten, he took an image of a necklace he likely intended to buy for Kessinger while hanging out with his family at Myrtle Beach. Her images kept him on a psychological leash, tethered to her, while his photo of a necklace indicated to her where his loyalties lay, with her. Before we get to the rest of this analysis, if you're finding this series worthwhile and you don't want to miss the next episode, you're welcome to hit the subscribe button, also hit the notification bell. And let's have a look. In the last 13 hours, thank you very much to Kelly B for your $2 and to DVDL9LQ for yours as well. If you want to show your appreciation, please do hit the thanks button. Every little bit counts. It really does. And let's get started. Chris Watts wanted his mistress to know that his loyalties lay with her. At the same time, he knew that Shanann couldn't know about it. So Watts busily secreted away his stash of images in his secret calculator app, meaning the stash of nude images of Kessinger, and as quickly as they came in, he hid them away. It was an active process. Even if Shanann took his phone, she'd be none the wiser. Just as if Shanann asked him what was going on, he would make sure Shanann was none the wiser. Now, if you compare this aspect to the Koberger case, if Shanann was investigating her husband and she looked at his phone, she would find no connection to Nicole Kessinger. He'd even deleted the fake name that he had for her. And so would that then prove that there was no connection to a mistress? No, just none that she could prove. But in the absence of evidence, what could they prove? Well, that Chris Watts seemed different, seemed distracted. And even if Shanann had asked him what is going on, he would make sure Shanann was none the wiser. Just as Koberger, when he was stopped during these traffic stops, was going to make sure that the cops were none the wiser about what he really was up to as well. But Chris Watts did concede one thing that was bothering him. He didn't volunteer anything about the affair or even about money, apparently. It was this third pregnancy. This now was suddenly an issue for the first time. At 13 weeks, Watts suddenly seemed to realize he was in something of a bind. The question was what to do about it. When that first attempt failed, the next thing that he tried was to tell Shanann about it. And of course, she didn't take it very well. Who would? According to the discovery documents, North Carolina was the first time he and Shanann ever discussed separating. Like, if we're bringing a third kid into this world, like, what's our relationship going to look like? Is it going to be... And so he's literally thinking, what's it going to look like to Kessinger? Is it going to be, are we going to work this out? Or is this going to lead to a separation? Is this going to lead to where, like, we stay together and be civil? And that was something he was also worried about. Are they going to be civil? And if they're not civil, is there going to be an explosion on social media? Remember, Shanann had a big social media presence that everyone could access. Chris Watts didn't really. And so he was also saying, or are we going to go our separate ways? Now, on the one hand, you can say Shanann was a tiger defending her cubs in terms of Nutgate and all the rest. On the other hand, in a sense, that suited Chris Watts very well. You want the kids? Well, you can take the kids, as long as I get to keep this relationship. Now, obviously, telling his wife he didn't want another child would have felt like an immense betrayal for Shanann. Like, where did that come from? And besides that, she would have felt alienated and have difficulty trusting her husband. What lay behind this change of heart? According to Watts, Shanann was very emotional and there was a lot of crying. And so when Shanann asked him, like, what is going on, Watts would simply couch it in kind of a global thing of, we're not compatible. And was that not true? Or was that just part of the truth? Incidentally, the word nude appears just 8 times in the discovery documents, all in reference to Kessinger sending Watts images of herself. These references occur on the following dates: July 18, July 20, July 24th, July 26th, July 29th, full nude, August 2nd, that's where we are now, August 9th, a week later, and then August 14th. Now, we don't know exactly when Watts led on to his wife that he was having second thoughts about the baby. It's likely he played it cool for the first 2 or 3 days. This estimate is based on Shanann's lack of response until the dam burst on August 4th. August 2nd was sort of the halfway point between not saying anything and communicating his thoughts about the pregnancy. And Watts was probably also quietly monitoring Shanann, given that he had just poisoned her. Was she going to be able to recover from that? And evidently she did. At the same time, he was simply thinking and feeling and listening. He was wondering how Shanann was going to react and then wondering what to do about it. With each passing hour, he felt a greater sense not only of certainty, but urgency. He didn't want this. Each day here was more asphyxiating. Each successive nude image from Kessinger was a carrot, tempting him to come out of his shell. But when Chris Watts came out of his shell, so did something else, something darker, something monstrous. All right, I'm not going to take it further than that. Look out tomorrow for the next episode in this ongoing series. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. So I'm standing